everyone, it's great to see you again. I wanted to bring you a change up in content with this story time of mine. If you end up enjoying this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. I'm not sure if I'll continue using this format, but it'll be quite interesting to shake things up a bit. Let's jump right in. Moving out of our parents' home can come with a variety of emotions, things like excitement and anxiety. Yet, it's widely accepted that moving out marks a new chapter in one's life if they so choose this. Not everyone feels it's necessary, or some just don't want to leave. We all have our reasons to do what we do, and that's fine. For me, my experience of moving out was a journey, and there's no doubt about that, because it was a hot mess. My little adventure started when I managed to finish my time in college. I had launched into searching for a job in my niche field when COVID hit. Isn't that convenient? At the time, I was laid off from my job at Hobby Lobby and was frankly devastated. Not only had I worked that job for 2 years, but I had this college debt I had to pay off. It was kind of intense. Yes, living at home was a relief, but unemployment wasn't exactly helping my finances. If I'd been searching for a job before, now I was even more rabid. I was trying to find a job. Any job, it didn't matter how big or small, just anything to pay the bills. Meanwhile, amidst the COVID chaos, a job offer finally presented itself. It was a speech assistant job, but the catch was I had to move across the state in a week. With the promise of pay far beyond what I had expected, I couldn't help but accept. With the help of my grandparents, I eventually settled into one of the two available apartments in the area, and like that, I had moved. I had no friends, no family, and pretty much nothing. And I can assure you, for me, this was a culture shock in so many ways. See, I lived in farm country where rednecks seemed to appear no matter where you look. The people were friendly and often just kept to themselves unless there was a holiday. Of course, then the guns and a cannon came out along with the booze. That's just how it was. Then I moved to this location, and there was like 6 lanes of traffic on just one side of the road, and you have to go 70 to 80 miles per hour just to not be smashed. Then, of course, my neighbors were extremely chatty and seemed to just want to cozy up to everyone. And I know it's just because they wanted to gossip. Another thing is, before this place, I'd only seen a laundromat once. When you live this far out in the country, it's a bit unnecessary to go all that way. After all, it's way easier to have a washer and then hang things outside to dry. It was also completely bizarre to have to walk everywhere, because after all, you're not going to find a parking space. That was all fine though. I ended up adapting with little to no issue. For the most part. I did continue to stick to myself, but I have a feeling that most of that was because of the conditions I was living in. While not the worst conditions, I was certainly living in an apartment that induced high levels of anxiety in me. Normally, people would think that the random knocking on my door at night would be the scariest thing. No, not at all. The scariest thing was the amount of bugs. Nothing could compare to the amount of bugs that were crawling on my walls. See, I am deeply petrified of bugs. I don't want them where I live. I don't want them to be where I am. I don't want to see them. I don't want them crawling on me. And I don't want them in my food at all. So having an infestation of roaches freaked me out. These roaches are wood roaches. They are essentially glorified termites that love wet wood. I wasn't dirty, and it really had nothing to do with me. No, it all happened to be down at the end of the apartment. They had a leak, and all of the wood got wet, and so they had a roach buffet. And unlike normal roaches, these were attracted to the light. And I was honestly losing it. I found out the extent of it when they were exploring my bed with me in it. It also didn't help that I nearly fell through the floor in the bathroom and nearly reacquainted myself with them. Not cool. With all this going on, it was just safer and cleaner to sleep in my car most nights. Often, I just found a Walmart parking lot and just stayed there as long as I could before work. Speaking of work, I had a great job. I worked as a pediatric speech assistant and in a private practice. With that job, I was able to help a variety of children, some with special needs and some just normal. I saw a variety of different living styles, and it was fascinating how different each one could be. At one point, I even went to a mansion. I honestly thought I had the wrong address when I first arrived because who actually lives in one of those? This isn't a fairy tale. Yet, like any job, it had its downsides. And looking back, honestly, I'd say these outweigh the good ones. See, many times parents didn't like that their kids made really slow progress, or they would be hurting their kids in front of me. Ultimately, this led to my life being threatened by a gun on multiple occasions. Yeah, for real. That's not a joke. This was a lot more than I had bargained for when I accepted this position. If I was attacked, I really honestly don't think I could have escaped. You probably would never be able to find me again. It didn't help that I was a contract worker on top of it. So when I did have clients, I raked in the cash. But when I didn't, which was more often than not, mind you, I had little to nothing. This got to the point I ended up without internet, heat, and sometimes had to choose between food, gas, and rent. All of this together eventually led me to become sick, and my life spiraled completely out of control. I was too far away from friends and family, and I just didn't know how to manage all this. I'm abundantly thankful that within a few hours of me breaking down and asking for help, my family dropped everything, and I mean everything, and brought me home. You should understand that to come and get me is a 3-hour drive. And it is absolutely grueling due to 3 different areas that had construction in it. It was awful. I'm very fortunate I was able to have a stable safety net like my family. They were able to get me on my feet, and now I even have a house of my own. I learned a lot. I don't like being far away from family, but honestly, I wouldn't want to move back in either. Home is my home, not my family's. I learned it's far more important to take care of myself than to focus on a job that puts me in danger. On top of that, I know I never want to live in a roach-infested house again. Absolutely not. For every bad thing that happened, it's the complete opposite now. I work as a quality lab technician. Not anything I went to school for at all. Now I smash, bake, and tear apart expensive car parts just to see if they'll survive wear and tear. By the way, that's super fun. I also use powerful acids to pull metals out of solutions to check their levels. In so many ways, I've become a chemist, and that's far more exciting than anything else I've ever done. I'm truly happy in my job. No longer am I being threatened and stressed out if kids are improving. My home is also safe and clean. I have a protective dog, and I rent to my roomie, who is truly the best I've ever had. And while my journey will continue, I can say that I'm very happy where I am. Everyone might think I failed living far away from everyone else, and honestly, you're technically right, but I don't regret it, and I learned what's important to me. Every experience will be uniquely our own whenever we decide to take that step. Life can be stressful and cruel at times. Just know you can do it and don't give up. Reach out to anyone if you feel that things are unsafe. Just keep going. I hope you enjoyed the story. I'm not sure if I'll keep doing these, but it was fun to tell a little bit. I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.